What's up, motherfuckers? It is I, Rob Ricks, and I am back. And today we're going to talk about Venom and a few other things. Let's see, Bronx. I don't know how you're going to do it for 4 months. I just put my wife and kid on a plane to Rome today, and I'm not going to see them for a week and a half. It sucks, man. It sucks, but, you know, it's one of those things where she really wants to contribute. She wants to make sure that, you know, she's bearing some of the burden of paying for this shit with the house and whatnot. And so I can't really deny her. She wants to do it. Despite what I feel or want, I have to support her. It's her decision to make, and I think it's gonna be harder on her than it is for me because I have the kids and everything else to keep me busy and occupied. You know, it's fucking weird. I'm sitting here looking on the stream here, and it says there's no viewers, and the chat is not showing up. Well, now, isn't that interesting? So, yeah, let's go ahead and let's talk. So, I had the chance of going out Thursday night. Thursday night, I got to see Venom because my wife got out of work early. She's basically on her last few days here, and then she's off for 3 weeks before she heads to her travel nursing stuff. And I was able to go check out the movie and get some fun little swag and stuff like that. So there's this. It's not a trash can. I'm actually using this as a trash can on my desk because it's so fucking cool. Oh, look at that. There's all the chat just suddenly showing up there. It's fun. Okay, good. So you can see the 6 viewers. Fine. Mine doesn't show it on my side. It's okay. But this is really neat because this is actually embossed. That's the level they went to. So you can see right in there, you can see the Venom where it's embossed in there. And then as we turn it this way, you can see the whole face. They embossed everything. So, you know, this was a popcorn bucket. But I was like, fuck that shit. This does not need to be a popcorn bucket. This now is going to be my little desk trash where I have like little things like little odd and end paper that I just throw in there. So, you know, I just go like this. Ta-da, keep it so that the Venom part there shows and stick it over on my desk. And then I also got a little soda mug, a soda cup. This is things that I like to do. What's up, Wolfbert? So I like this. And so let's talk about it. Let's talk about Venom. Okay, so first, I will do this completely spoiler-free. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to give you impressions, thoughts, and things of that nature. So, if I had to summarize the movie with a thumbnail descriptor, it's basically an anti-hero, superhero, cop buddy film. So if you think of the cop buddy movies where there's banter between good cop, bad cop, you know, Lethal Weapon, you know, you've got Danny Glover and Mel Gibson. You know, their banter and stuff. There's some of that happens here, and there's some very fun action sequences that are really good, really good. The action sequences, and there were quite a few, was great. There's some love stuff in there. He kind of pooches a relationship thing that you'll see. You got some of that from some trailer stuff, but you'll see it's very interesting. So it's not related at all to the Spider-Man universe. There is no Spider-Man. They make no reference to other superheroes or anything else. Basically, it's just, you know, the symbiotes get on the Earth in a certain way, and there it is. They're just there, and the reaction to it with hosts and things of that nature is what happens. Now, the good special effects is okay. You could see some stuff that's kind of like, yeah, all right, could be better, but for the most part, it was good. The form of Venom is menacing and massive. It's a PG-13 movie, but there are some dark tones, dark fucking tones in this movie. And when you watch it, you'll know the scenes I'm talking about when you see them. You're like, holy shit, it's dark. Now, it's sad that they did a PG-13 because I would have really liked to see what they could have did with an R rating. Because you have stuff like, for people that are familiar with comics, Venom would eat people. And this is no exception. They have references to that kind of stuff, but you don't see really a lot of blood scenes. Put it that way. There's some scenes that have some blood to it, but it's not like what it should be. And if they ever do a sequel and it has some other characters in it, and it goes the route of the comic books, I really don't know how they're going to get away with a PG-13 because Venom, sometimes some of those comics, they got really dark. They got some really interesting things. Now, when you go watch this, there are two end-credit scenes. There's an end-credit scene that is very specific to a sequel setup. And then there is another piece that happens right at the end of the movie trailers that has a cool clip on the Spiderverse. And there's a trailer before the movie usually with Spiderverse, Captain Marvel, Battle Angel Alita, to name a few that I saw when I watched it. So I'm not going to go any more into any plot summaries or anything else like that, but it, for me, was a very entertaining movie. Wow! Wow, 40 fucking minutes removed? Fuck! I really hope and pray somehow, some way they put that shit back in there because, my lord, the interaction with Venom and Eddie is great. I enjoyed it. Eddie Brock character is very manic, very twitchy, very different than Mad Max, than Bane. It is his own fucking thing. Oh, you didn't know about this dream, Mr. Morris? This is the entertainment one. This is where we geek out and we talk about comic books and movies and music and just pop culture in general. You know what I mean? Yeah, if they could do an uncut director's release of this with that shit as a fucking unrated release, that would be great. I would be fucking ecstatic and thrilled. That's not saying, though, that the movie was bad. The other trailer that they had was for Dark Phoenix. And I'm still on the fence in regards to Dark Phoenix, but I'm hoping they pull it out because the trailers look better each time I watch it. So we'll see. But the you gotta stay past the credits. You have to see at the very least that first end credit scene because that sets up the sequel, and that is gonna be fucking. If they pull it off and they do it, is gonna be fucking bananas. It's gonna be fucking nuts. When you watch it, you'll see it. You'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say anything. So if you guys have seen it leaked already, don't bring it up here because I'm gonna ignore the question. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ignore it. See, that's some bullshit. That's some Sony bullshit, Brian. It's like they should, man. I mean, fucking Deadpool's got an R rating and it's fucking phenomenal. You know? And now they're trying to fuck Deadpool by doing a PG-13 Christmas release. And I'm like, fuck, you know, there's no fucking, it's just no making these motherfuckers happy. They're just stupid. Now, let's shift gears. Let's talk about Iron Fist. So I watched I finally had a chance to finish Iron Fist, and I was pacing myself because it's a short run. The Iron Fist, oh shit, no kidding. But you know what's funny, Mr. Morris, is the fact that when Venom comes out, he's bigger than Brock Lesnar. He's fucking way bigger. He's a fucking beast. It's like a symbiote Hulk. It's fucking nuts. You know what I'm saying? But getting back to Iron Fist, I paced it because it was, put this down here so I can do that. It was 10 episodes as opposed to the normal 12 episodes. And as I started to watch Iron Fist, there was some stuff that was pretty good in there. And there was some stuff that was kind of not so good. And then it got to the last episode. And as the last episode started to wind down, I had a ball in my stomach and I felt horrible. I was like, this is the worst fucking ending ever. And it got nearer to the end and I was like, fuck this show. I will never fucking watch this again. And then they started flipping scripts on me and shit started unraveling. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the best fucking show ending ever. I am so excited if they do an Iron Fist season 3 because the way they set it up at the end of Iron Fist 2, I was like, you motherfuckers. And the way they handled Typhoid Mary, I was like, you motherfuckers. Like, they wrapped it up nice, neat in the fucking bun. They looked like they were going to fuck you in the asshole. And then right at the fucking end, they flip some shit on you just like, what? What? Like, I was like, what? That was the best flip I've seen in a show as far as endings go. Like, I was so fucking mad at the ending as shit was starting to go downhill. I was like, fuck this show. Fuck you. Fuck you. I was so mad. I was literally screaming at the TV because the shit that endeared me to the whole series, was looking, iffy at the end. I was like, oh, fuck me. This is, what the fuck? Like, I was literally, what the fuck? And then shit started happening. I was all, that's fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome. Like, I literally was talking to myself. That's fucking awesome. Let's see here. Tom Hardy should have been Carnage. Mr. Morris, when you watch the movie and you get to the end, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Yeah, Magic. When you finish it, it'll be fucking interesting. It'll be fucking interesting. When you guys are done, we'll debrief. Now, in regards to Netflix, make your calendars, mark that shit, because come October 19th, just a measly 13 days, less than 2 fucking weeks from now, we get our Daredevil Season 3. And let me just say, oh my fucking God. We got Bullseye. We got Kingpin. We got Matt Murdock saying, fuck it. Let the devil play. This is covering a story arc from the Daredevil comics that is one of the darker slides for Daredevil. Okay? This is going to be fucking interesting. It's going to be fucking interesting. So, I am excited for that shit. I love Daredevil. The only thing I'm sad about, but I understand what's happening here, is we don't get to see Daredevil in the red suit. It looks like the bad guy is wearing the red suit, and we know who the bad guy is now, and it makes perfect fucking sense. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be some interesting shit. I am looking forward to Daredevil. That's one of my favorites. Kingpin. Oh my hell. When I first saw Homeboy, who was on Law and Order, and he's been in a couple other things. He was Gomer Pyle in Full Metal Jacket. When I saw Gomer Pyle coming in as Kingpin, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, this is going to be fucking laughable. And then, when I watched him, I was like, whoa. Yeah, but okay, Tenchi, ha, because he's blind. All this time you guys thought I could see. I'm actually blind, Tenchi. I took offense to that. You need to stop. That's offensive to blind people, Tenchi. I'm gonna take my billy club and I'm gonna throw it at you. Ba-tink. I'm just fucking around. But It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fucking interesting because he brought it as Kingpin, and when I watched him turn on the rage, I said, this motherfucker in real life has some fucking unresolved issues because he tapped in some fucking dark shit. Dark shit. You know what I mean? Especially, what was it, season 1, when he fucking went to town on the reporter with the car. Oh my hell. Woo! I was like, yeah, Kingpin it is. Netflix is good at that. Because when Punisher was coming out, I was like, Shane? Really? You gonna have fucking Shane up in this shit? I fucking hate this motherfucker. Oh, he owned it though. These guys, man, when they get these roles, woo! They own them. They own them. You know, whether you like them or you don't. You know, and I was like, holy shit. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So, the 19th, we got that coming out. That's going to be fucking great. Of course, some shows got shuffled around movie-wise. So, Battle Angel Alita, looks like that got pushed to February, which was going to be the release time period, February 2019, that Dark Phoenix, X-Men Dark Phoenix was going to pop up. But I think they pushed Dark Phoenix forward, so we're going to get that this year sometime. I think in December, if I'm not mistaken. It might be November, but I think it's December. But then they pushed Battle Angel Alita. My wife was like, what fucking show is this? She's never heard of Battle Angel Alita. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is some shit. And I gotta say, the CG on that is pretty goddamn good. It's pretty good. Somebody was all, why is her eyes so big? I'm like, because that's how it is. She got big fucking eyes. You know, it's got the big anime eyes. But Battle Angel Alita is a badass motherfucker. She can get it down. You know, so that's going to be a fun show. I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be a good one. Let's see. What are some of the other shows and stuff that are coming out that I'm super excited about? There's, on the comic book front, what's this? Only Netflix series I'm about is Daredevil. You know, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody because, for example, season 1 with Foggy and Matt, their fucking relationship and its decline in season 2, you know, it was horrible. It was like, I was like, I get it. Ugh, fuck off, you know? And, but I think in all fairness, Netflix is the only series, the only company so far, the only streaming service so far that even with some of the boring parts of the shows, I think they add a whole nother layer and hit a different demographic. For example, when I watched the very first season of Iron Fist, everybody that I talked to absolutely fucking hated it. Hated it. And they were like, oh, it's too much with the Ward, Mitchum, and Joy, and the dad, and blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I kind of dig that. I kind of dig that whole get down, you know? But then, you know, they were like, another series outside of Netflix, the only other series that I've seen outside of Netflix, and Magic just reminded me of one of them, is Runaways and Cloak and Dagger. And if I'm not mistaken, both of those are on Freeform, the channel. So, you know, that's it. All right. Okay, Tenchi. Be safe. Later. So Freeform has 2 good shows. Netflix, I'm just digging everything that's been coming off of it, you know? Oh, well, see, great, Brian. So you and I are in the same boat because there was a lot of people absolutely hated it. They were like, why the fuck is this motherfucker even getting a season 2? I'm like, you know what? And it leads into season 2 so well because some of the things that's kind of unresolved in season 1 gets a good resolution inside of season 2. I got into this book series, Blackbird, a warrior of the nowhere. Well, I've never of the no win. I have not heard of that. Is it good? Because I'm always looking for new book series because I like to write. And so as I'm writing and stuff like that, sometimes when I read other people's stuff, it gives me new ways of telling stories. For example, what is it? The Nevernight series. The way that author tells the story is fucking interesting as shit. You know, he uses like footnotes to fill in blanks on a story. So, like, for example, I make a reference to I make a reference to this figure as an example. So in a story I say, well, the little brown rabbit was really fucking cool. And there's an asterisk next to the brown rabbit. Now down in the footnotes, there's a thing that says, the brown rabbit was a gift from his daughter on such and such thing and is one of his most prized possessions. So it's like there's extra information down there if you want it, or you just keep reading. And I was like, you know what? That's fucking cool. But I will definitely take a look at Blackbird, a warrior of the no-win. That sounds actually kind of interesting. Speaking of novels and books and stuff like that, I will take a sidestep real quick. My magic really sucks. I got my edits back from my editor. And I'm going to be spending some time this weekend reading through the edits and making sure they didn't change anything or screw anything up. And once I get through with those edits, then I send it back to the editor. And at that point, now we are inside of a production run. So what they're going to do is they're going to finalize the artwork for the book. They'll get the ISBN number and all of that stuff. They'll list the book out. And then they'll start to solicit it to different things to see if any of the magazines in the normal channel wants to read it, so they can start getting some reviews and things of that nature for my February 14th, 2019 release. So Magic Really Sucks will be coming out final edition at that time, and it should be available in all different platforms. So it should be available like in Barnes & Noble, should be available in different outlets and things like that. And at that point, I will also start trying to figure out when I'm going to do book signings and things of that nature. I'll start reaching out to like the Barnes and Nobles and scheduling times on different weekends and stuff like that I can do it. So, you know, come February, it might affect some of these streams. Like some of these streams might be happening not with these types of backgrounds, but it might be happening from some fucking hotel room somewhere while I'm traveling. So it all depends. We're gonna play by ear and see what's what. But I am excited. Autograph versions. What I'm going to do is once the book is officially launched, I'm probably gonna buy about 20 to 40 books, and those ones I'm going to do stuff like I did with my Convergence 2012. I'm gonna get like a embossing stamp deal that will label it as a collector's edition, and I will press that on the cover. I will press it on the first page on the inside, and then I will sign it. And that first 50 will also be numbered. So they'll be numbered 1 to 50. And obviously, I'm going to make those pretty much exclusively available to this stream, this channel right here. I'm not gonna list those up on the website or anything else. Those will just be available to this core group here. And also friends and family that I see face to face. If they're like, hey, I actually want a signed copy, blah, blah, blah. And I think that will probably be enough. I think 50 will be enough. I've also got some customized bookmarks. Some that are punched, some that aren't punched. The ones that are punched will also have like a little, what do you call it? Tassel on it and stuff like that. So those will be also part of the get down. If you don't see me at a book signing and stuff like that, but you do get one of these autographed editions, you're going to get a bunch of fun stuff. Like I'm sure by then I'll also have some stickers and some other stuff. So I'll make a cool little package for the folks that are usually on the stream here and supporting me and stuff like that. Let's see here, Jay. How can I get an autograph? Okay, book signing tour. Fly down to Georgia. Make sure on your book tour you can come to the East Coast. Jackalope went down to Georgia. He was looking for a story to sell. He was in the bind. His mortgage behind. Just made the book sign a deal. Really, right? That's not too far from the truth. And it makes for a very interesting story because really, once the book is available and I get copies, because I have to buy my copies. Like, they'll give me a certain amount, but they're not going to give me a shit ton. So they want me to push people through their outlets. For me, I'll buy X amount and then I turn around and then I sell them. So I get a discount. I think my discount price, if I'm not mistaken, I got to go back and look. I think my discount is something like only 25% or something. So it's not like I get them like half off or anything else. I think I get them at like 20-25%, depending on the amount that I buy. With a maximum, I think my maximum discount is 35%, and that's at like 100 books or some shit like that. I gotta double check. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, that makes it interesting because any traveling I do comes out of my pocket. Any lodging that I do comes out of my pocket. So my first book signing is going to be within range here. An hour to 2 hours from home. And there's probably, last I checked, I think there's about 10 Barnes and Nobles within that range. And there's a couple other bookstores that I do like. There's one called Weller Books. It's down in Trolley Square, downtown Salt Lake, about 40 minutes from me, that I really like. So I will talk to them and see if they do any kind of signings and stuff like that. And then once I start to grow the following, and it makes sense, yeah, I'd love to go to East Coast and Georgia and a bunch of other places. I'd like to be able to do that. But it's got to be something that's kind of, it would be like, oh, suddenly Oprah starts talking about my book and it's suddenly really fucking popular. And I don't have any illusions about anything. This channel right here, I think I have 120, 130 subs. On the Angry Jackalope side, I have 3,200 or something subs. On my Facebook and stuff, I think collectively between all the different things, it's 500 friends. And the funny thing is, when I put out Convergence 2012, which was my first book that I put out in 2011, I believe, out of my 400 friends, 5 people actually bought the book. And then my mom proceeded to buy like maybe 50 or 60 books. And then when I started to do digital books in different places, I have since had, when I made that book free for anybody to download, I think it had 3,000 downloads. So 3,000 downloads from 2011 to now, that's over a 7-year period. That's cool from one point that many people downloaded. It didn't mean that many people actually read the book from front to back. It just means that's how many people were kind of interested about it and they downloaded it to their computer or whatever else. Now, out of the people that read Convergence 2012, the people that read it from front to back loved it. I didn't have anybody knock me at all for the story. They loved the story. I got knocked by people because of grammatical errors, language, because it had some bad language. It had a lot of bad language. Fucking, I wonder why. but there wasn't anything super graphic or anything else in it. But it was a good book. It was a good solid book. That was also set up as a trilogy. It was supposed to be 2000 Convergence 2012. Then there was going to be 2013 The Aftermath, and then 2014 The Truth. I still will do those regardless of whatever the date is because it's a divergent timeline. It's not the same timeline. And I might even do a fourth book that kind of plays in between, our world and their world. Oh, I didn't realize you actually read it, Magic. I think you told me, and I forgot that you actually had read that. That actually makes me very happy that you liked it, because um, the Magic really sucks. Um, the feedback that I had gotten from you on that one was really really good. So anyway, so that's the plan for Magic Really Sucks. And then I think so while this is going on, I already have the other two books done, and I think I'll continue to go back and revisit some things and make things a little bit better. Um, I'm not a reader, and I read it all. Oh, awesome! Why, thank you. You read the Convergence or the Magic? Which one did you read, Bronx? Yeah, I got it from Amazon. I had to finish it after you started reading on YouTube. Oh shit, I'm sorry, bro. I've been meaning to fucking finish reading it too. I actually had it in the other room, and I was telling myself a couple of days ago I was putting the books in order, and that the one that I was actually reading still has the bookmark where I left off. I'm like, fuck, I really need to fucking finish this, because there's been a couple of comments I had gotten from some people saying, hey, are you ever gonna fucking finish this? And I was like, oh shit, yeah, I am actually. And now that I've got all of this good recording equipment, it should be fucking much easier. Because before it was fucking horrible. Oh sweet, dude, I didn't know you read that. Thanks, Bronx. See that, you guys, man. You guys don't know. Like um, for me as so you were the same way. Okay, that's fucking funny. For me, as a writer, it it's um it's an emotional thing, man. When you 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 write something and somebody reads it and they like it, and they actually let you know that they dug it, because you know when when I do stuff, when I write, for me the biggest thrill is that somebody goes, "Man, I really liked it." Like, because when you read something, you're investing time, and for me, um, it is not about the money. It's funny because my kids go, "Oh, Dad, if you sell a bunch of books, you're gonna make money." I'm like, "Look, guys, writers don't make a lot of money. They really don't. And by the time um, you stay in the game and you get to the point where the books really take off, unless I get really fucking lucky, um, you're not gonna see a bunch of money. You're just not going to. But for me, as I start to tackle these 57 different stories that are floating around in my head, and I put them out, and I hear somebody read it and they liked it, man, that just there's really no way to describe it. It's like it's a magical fucking thing for me anyway. I don't know about other people, but for me, I get tickled. Like when I was feeding the story to like Magic and my cousin and um a few other people that were reading it, and I was getting feedback. Oh my god, you guys! It's like I was already pumped to write these stories, but then when I was getting the feedback, man, it just fired me up more, and it just made me fucking. It made me high. It made me fucking super happy. It just was like, wow. And it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing when you create something and people really fucking dig it. Um, and even if there were a couple people that I know that started reading Magic Really Sucks, for example, and they didn't care for it, didn't like it. It was because they were more into the big descriptions and slow burns and stuff like that. And, you know, they love Stephen King. I'm not Stephen King. I don't write like Stephen King. I don't do these big, huge, long intros and these different complicated characters that, you know, you get to learn about and then nothing happens with them, you know. I try to give my characters, all of them, a purpose and just let them go crazy. Like, I treat my characters like they're people I know. And I give them that love and respect. And that's why when I was writing Convergence 2012, there was a part where I backed Tim into a corner. Tim is one of the main characters of the story. And I was like, fuck. And in my mind, I had some really horrible things was going to happen to him. And I couldn't bring myself to actually write it out. And I actually stepped away from Convergence 2012 for 4 fucking months. Let's see, Jay, have a good week. Everyone have to go tuck the kids in for the night. Okay, brother, be safe. I had to step away for like 4 months, because 3 or 4 months, I can't remember now. And I was like, because I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do it. But my subconscious kept working at it. And then I was like, you know what? I have a solution. So I kept writing a different direction at that point, and I was able to salvage spare a character from what I thought was just going to be horrendous. And that worked out super well and actually created more interesting bad guys in the process. So that worked out really fucking well. And I got to tell you guys, since we're talking about some weird shit and we're talking about the stories, I'm going to share some things with you that really haven't told other people about, but I think is interesting for this intimate group right here, since you guys are kind of the core group of people that listen to me rant and rave and talk about my writing and stuff. So and I don't want to be too specific because I don't want to give stuff away from some of these other books that I'm working on. But so I'll talk about Convergence for a second. So in Convergence, as I was writing the story, there was quite a few times where I would just get in the zone. Like, I was in the zone and I was just writing, and I would stop eventually and I'd look down and I'd have 75 pages written. I mean, just 75. There was one day where I wrote 75 fucking pages, and I was like, holy shit. I mean, it was started early in the morning and it was late at night. And I was like, wow, I don't remember writing a lot of this. And then there was it's these weird coinky-ding shit that was happening. Like, I took a map, and there were some spots that I had to pick in the story where this liquid would manifest in these different areas. And so I just randomly said here, here, and here. Just pick 3 fucking spots on the map. And as I picked those 3 spots on the map, I went and I went on Google and looked at images for those areas, and I did research for those areas so that I could kind of make it authentic, because I'd never been to these locations, you know. And so I wrote about them, and each of these locations proved to be very, very, very interesting. And so there was some synchronicity that was happening between these different locations and the story itself. And I was like, holy shit, what's the odds of that? Then there was things like the name of the aliens, for example. So the Draconians, that was pretty straightforward. I said, yeah, lizard people, you know, we see those inside of all kinds of folklore and legends and stuff like that. You know, the inner earth and the lizard people and the Slee Stacks from that one TV series, and then the little alien lizard thing that Captain Kirk was fighting that we all see all the time. So I was picturing shit like that, but I wanted to make them shapeshifters and a little more interesting and kind of more beefy. And this was before Jupiter Rising too. So when Jupiter Rising came out, I was like, holy shit, that looks like a fucking yeah, see. Yeah, see, Magic remembers. He goes, yeah, when I was doing Magic Really Sucks, you get an update one day, the next day or two, you get another 100 pages. It was the same thing. I'd get in these fucking zones and just write. And I love it. I love when I get in those zones. It's kind of a magical experience in of itself. It's like I'm experiencing the story because there's no outlines. This is just stories writing themselves for lack of a, if I really want to simplify it, right? So, when I'm doing these aliens, I said draconians, and the other one I said was Anukai, right? And I said, yeah, Anukai, that sounds like a good alien race. And so I did this race called Anukai. And when everything was said and done, and 2012 was coming around, and the Mayan calendar was at a fevered pitch at this point. A buddy of mine introduced me to, what is his fucking name? It's Chariot of the Gods or something Sichi or something like that. I can't remember his name, but he was talking about an alien race called the Anunnaki, and I'm like, the Anunnaki, and I got a race called the Anukai. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, Anukai and Anunnaki. All right, there's some similarities there, and it was a trip to me because just a lot of stuff that was happening inside of Convergence 2012. There was a lot of weird correlations of things that were happening of the thing, So, for example, the Anukai, I think I spelled it like this. Where's my, oh, there it is, Anukai. I think I spelled it like Anukai. And Anunnaki, I think it's something like that. And so you can kind of see, even with the structuring of the way things are like laid out there, it's kind of interesting. And it's funny because it was just weird quinky dink. And then I kind of told myself, you know what? I've been following conspiracy shit for a long time. I might have heard of Anunnaki some other time. And it might have been in my subconscious. And as I was wrestling to figure out the name of an alien race, I just came up with that. And it could have been subconscious. I don't know. Could have been. I'm not outright dismissing that. But there are other weird things that occurred while writing Convergence 2012. For example, there was a point before Chariot of the Gods. Yes, thank you, Brian. That's the one. Yep. That is the motherfucker right there. There was a time before Angry Jackalope. Angry Jackalope show actually was going to be a rant channel. Was going to be all conspiracies. That's all. It wasn't going to have knives or any of this other stuff that it actually ended up having. It was just going to be about a lot of bullshit going on in the world and things that I was concerned about, et cetera, et cetera. And my wife at the time was like, you need to be careful. You don't want to draw unwanted attention and have the Men in Black come and take you away. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You're fucking right. And I wanted to do this thing with a movement called We Are the Reliant. So I had this thing called the Reliant Movement. And I told her, I said, I'm going to do this though with the Reliant. I'm going to find people, just a core group of people, and then they will find a core group of people, and then they will find a core group of people, and we will just have a shared ideology, but no centralized leadership or anything else. It'll just be the Reliant Movement. And I was going to do that, and I was writing a book called The Greatest Depression at the time. And it was a play on words. So like the main character was a guy who was just wrought with depression. He was seeing all the evil in the world, and it was just driving him sad. And then he was going to try to bring about this extreme change while we had this huge depression going on. Okay, so that's why it was a play on word of the Greatest Depression. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm done. I'm not going to do this shit anymore. I'm not a leader. I don't fucking want to be a leader. I don't want to, deal with this bullshit, and I'm done. And it was weird because as I'm telling her all of this stuff, and we're in an old house at the time, I I'm in bed, and we're laying down, and we're talking, and I turn to my right, and I shit you not, the biggest fucking ant I had ever seen in my life was sitting there just looking at me. You might be saying to yourself, how the fuck do you know that an ant is looking at you? Okay, the ant was this long from the crinkle of this finger to the tip here. Okay, that's how long it was, and it was a big, thick, black ant, and it was looking at me, and it was so close to me that I could see his head tilted this way, and his little fucking antenna, on his fucking thing just looking at me. And I looked at this fucking ant, and I was like, and it fucking spooked me. It was a crazy fucking thing. Yes, Brian, that is absolutely right. The Anunnaki are the alien gods from Sumerian Babylonian stuff. Yep, Inky and all that other stuff that I've since researched. I'll get to that in a second. So I see this fucking ant, and it just spooks me. It just makes me go, what the literal fuck is this shit, right? So I'm like, okay. So I gently get a piece of paper. I get the ant on it. And I'm telling my family about this giant fucking ant. And we take it outside. And I let it on the ground. And it goes. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then a few days later, I'm still pondering all of this shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I was praying to God, like, what the fuck is my role? What am I fucking doing? What do you expect me to do? Blah, blah, blah. And out on our light, our porch light, was a big, giant green dragonfly. Beautiful fucking dragonfly. That motherfucker was easily that big. It was huge. I got pictures of that motherfucker. I don't know why I didn't take pictures of the fucking ant, but my wife was right there to corroborate the shit. But the dragonfly, I know I've got pictures of that laying around. So I put my hand up towards this fucking big ass dragonfly, and it gets down. It just hops in the hand, and I go and I show the kids, and we're all looking at it like, wow, this fucking thing is huge. This is the biggest fucking thing we've ever seen. And we're just tripping on this dragonfly, and we're bringing it in the house. It's not flying around. It's not doing anything, and I'm worried that, fuck, I hope it's okay, because it seems really lethargic. It's not doing anything or anything else, and so I'm kind of looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, you're fucking pretty cool. It's really green, beautiful, prismatic fucking dragonfly. And so my son's like, put it in a thing, we'll keep it as a pet. I'm like, no. So I take it to the backyard. I put it on the light in the back there, and it sat there for a day. And I saw it the next morning, and I was like, fuck, man, I hope this thing is okay. And then it just took off and flew away, and I was like, oh fuck, good, it didn't die. I was getting nervous about it. I was like, fuck, how do you feed a fucking dragonfly? But that was a weird thing, and I was like, all right, so that's kind of funky, that's kind of weird. But I started working on Magic Really Sucks years later. There's some other stuff in between, but I don't have a lot of time to do all that. But fast forward to Magic Really Sucks. So I have a bunch of these dreams, really crazy fucking dreams, and I have a good friend, Roy. And so I'm talking to Roy on Facebook, and I'm data dumping as fast as my fingers could fucking type. And I'm telling him stuff like, so I could tell you stuff that the dreams are about because it doesn't really affect the story. It's just the dreams that inspired the story. Let's put it that way. So my dreams organize religion with emotions like this, okay? What those are binding spells to prevent us from tapping into actual magic. So religion has done a great job stripping humanity of the magical connection for us to actually weave and cast spells. And it was there were different factions and different groups in a dream, and it was kind of sad because in a dream I was in this like university or something. This is totally not even related to Magic Really Sucks the story, but this was what the part of the dreams. So I was in this university dorm. I was a younger person, and there was a girl there, really sad. She looked really bummed out, and I was like, "Yo, what's up? What's the fucking problem?" She goes, "Melissa never made it back," and I'm like, "Fuck it, let's go get her." And she's like, "No, you don't understand. She's out in that forest, and." There's some bad shit out there. We don't think we got enough juice to get her and get back in time. And I'm like, yeah, we could do it. I'll get a port spell. Another person will have a backup port spell, and we'll have somebody flare. We just need 4 fucking people, and then you just get her. You focus on getting her. One port there, another person to port us back, and one person to flare. We got this shit. And she's like, oh, you're brave, but no. She told us not to go after her. I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to go get motherfuckers. So anyway, the dream fragmented, whatever. We're in this fucking forest. Oh my God. It was the darkest, scariest fucking forest I'd been in. Like, it was so wet, so fucking cold. And I was like, man, there's no fucking light. Like, there was no light. Like, all the forest was wet and dark and oppressive. Like, I could feel the branches around me, and they all felt alive. And I'm like, fucking flare, fucking flare, fucking flare. Like, I'm yelling for this fucking Chinese kid to fucking flare this fucking light so we could see what the fuck. Because I could just feel there was shit all around us. And he flared it. Sure enough, shit just fucking just bounced like really fast fucking things. And I'm like, go, 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 go. And this girl, she's doing this dance. It looked like this really crazy dance. Like if you saw there was a show called the original A or OA or something like that, the OA. They were doing these, it almost looked like an interpretive dance type thing, something very similar to that. But the key aspects of magic is so the motions that we do, there aren't just dances. They're not just movement for movement's sake. What's happening is we've got a layer of energy that flows around us, electromagnetic field. And some people, their electromagnetic field is different than other people. But when you do these types of things, what you're doing is you're causing an interruption and a flow and a magnification of the energy around us. So it's kind of like when you see like Goku and those guys, you see them going, oh, and they're doing all these movements, and all of a sudden they do this and it starts building up power. It's similar to that, but it's more subdued. So you're doing these things, and there's a movement part and there's a vocal part. The vocal part is sound. Sound manipulates everything around us. Sound is a big deal. So as you're doing these types of movements, and your fingers and stuff like that are taking different shapes and things of that nature, the sound and the movement creates the effect or the manipulation of energy, and then you're able to cast the spell. Okay, so that's the basics that was happening in the dreams. And it was funny because the church, in an effort to control, they had their own magic. So there was things that people were doing, and they were saying stuff like amen and stuff like that. Well, I'm done now writing Magic Really Sucks. I'm done with the first trilogy, and there's parts in the trilogy that are interesting to me now in hindsight, because now I've done some research and I've come across stuff like Inky and things of that nature. The originals. No. This was something that was, it was a movie. Oh no, it wasn't a movie, I guess. It might have been a series called The OA on Netflix. The OA. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Really trippy fucking show. Like, you're not sure if she's on the legit or if she was just a fucking mental chick. It's really crazy. It's a very interesting show. But I came across some stuff. Again, I keep getting pulled back to stuff like Chariots of the Gods, the Book of Enoch, and a bunch of these other things where it's very interesting that if you do reading and research into mythology far enough, you start to find some crazy shit. Here, I'll talk about, we'll switch from Magic Really Sucks, because that's a trilogy that's done. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but I'm working on another book right now called The Sordid Adventures of Farouk Fantouk and Jizzy J, where, as a joke, I said the demon that Farouk and them, his cult belongs to, is the cult of Baal. Okay? Baal. My understanding before beginning Farouk, Funtuk, and Jizzy J was that Satan, Lucifer, whatever was top tier. Baal was a subpar, lesser demon, blah, blah, blah. Well, color my surprise when I find out the cult of Baal is one of the more insidious, darkest groups since the dawn of man. That shit spooked the fuck out of me because I had some cursory knowledge of Baal, but didn't think anything of it. But then as I started stumbling onto some new shit recently, I was like, oh fuck, what the fuck did I inadvertently step in on? You know? Yeah. Yep. I was hoping for a second season too. I don't know if they canned it or if they're not doing it, or I don't know what. I hope they do, because that bitch left a cliffhanger that I'm like, you know. But yeah, do a search for the cult of Baal or the death cult of Baal, and it gets scary. That takes you down a rabbit hole that I was like, oh shit, because I'm like halfway done with Farouk, Fatuk, and Jizzy J, and that's a fucking dark ass book. That's all me. Again, that's another one. I sit down and start writing. I have no idea where it's going, and it just fucking free flows like a motherfucker. And so my wife, she likes to joke with me that I've got some kind of a muse in my body that I tap into when I start writing. And I'm like, man, maybe, I don't know. Could be, I don't know. I could be the copywriter for some extra dimensional being that just has a creative mind, or I don't know. Could be any number of things. But I do know my 57 stories, those synopsises, a lot of times I'll be sitting there going, hey, it'd be a good story, and I just write down a synopsis real quick of it. I find it hard to believe that some malevolent entity is using me to push agendas and shit, to sway people to the dark side. I'm like, I don't think so. I think I'm just writing fucking stories and I'm having fun with it, Yeah, Baal is very ancient. It goes back pre-Sumerian. It goes back fucking far. And then it's funny because if you stop and think about how many times the name Baal is used, basketball, football, baseball, etc., 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 it's very interesting. You can go down a pretty weird rabbit hole when you start to look at shit like that. But in any event, those were some of the things that I think are kind of crazy and interesting. And fuck, Angelic Revelations, that's another one. That's damn near a whole stream in and of itself, the shit that happened there. I think I made a video about that before on the Angry Jackalope side. But, yeah, that's the thing that I kind of wrestle with. Like, I love to do my writing and stuff like that, but then sometimes I realize some of the stuff that I write, people can misinterpret and put towards a certain agenda. And I'm like, man, that really sucks. I would hate for somebody to take shit that I write and then paint it in a darker format, because I write to entertain. I write for us to learn lessons and see things. And, when you get all the way through Magic Really Sucks, there's certain archetypes in there that really fucking trip me out now that I look back in hindsight. But when I was writing it, I was like, yeah, this sounds fun. Let's just do this. Da, 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 da. And then I did it, and then my wife was like, who's gone down this conspiracy rabbit hole, she's now, oh, babe, somebody could take that thing right there that you wrote and say this. I'm like, well, that's not what I meant. She goes, well, it could be that way. I'm like, but that's not what I take from it, So it's kind of funny because some subjective shit are in some of the stories where somebody could take something out of context and really make shit really dark. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I didn't write that like that. But it is insane how fast I can write, because I wrote the three the 3 books in 5 months. And this was right at the busiest, most hectic, most insane time in my life. I wrote 3 fucking books in 5 months. To put in perspective, it took me, if you take away the 3 or 4 months that I stepped away from Convergence 2012, that took me roughly 8 months to write. That was sit down and write time, 8 months. So 8 months for one book and 5 months for 3 books. That shit's fucking bananas. And The Sordid Adventures of Farouk Fantouk and Jizzy J, I am on page, I think I'm on page 100 and something. So I've got 100 and some odd pages in on that. And that's going to end up being a 320, 330 page book. So I'm about a good third of the way there. And I want to sit down and finish that. I've been distracted with the house, all this shit. You know, I finally got everything dialed in here. And when my wife starts travel nursing, that's going to free me up a lot of time to really be able to sit down and write uninterrupted. And I anticipate probably what I'll do is I'll start writing at, you know, after I'll feed the kids, get them all situated. I'll start writing at like 7 o'clock and I'll write till midnight. And my goal for this next year is not only to finish the Sordid Adventures of Farouk Fantouk and Jizzy J, but also finish the second trilogy of Magic Really Sucks, where they are at the it's kind of backstories of training grounds. I won't say anything else, but people who have read it will know the training grounds story, the 10 years there, and also some backstory on Cat. So that'll be the next trilogy, and then there'll be one-offs after that, which hopefully at the end of next year I'll be able to get done, which will be a one-off story of Sparkles and Pinocchio, and there'll be a one-off for Melissa, Valk, and Ethan, and then there'll be a one-off for just Valk herself, which will tie up a lot of the mystery surrounding Valk. So I think that's the obviously the order on that's going to be the Sparkles Pinocchio story first, then the Valk story, and finally the Valk, Melissa, and Ethan love triangle, whatever that is, will have a final resolution. So I've had a lot of people come back saying, "Oh, I want Ethan to end up with this person. I want Ethan to..." I'm like, I don't know who he fucking ends up with. This is a big a mystery for me as it is you motherfuckers. So we'll have to wait and see. So anyway, that's the show, guys. That's all I've got for tonight. Fucking appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me. I look forward to this all week long. Really, you know, the news that the Bronx Jackalope and the Magic Jackalope both read my Convergence fucking blows my mind. And can't wait to tell my wife about it, because that's a big deal to me. You guys are important to me, so when you guys read my shit and you comment on it, it means a lot to me. It means a lot. It does. So I appreciate the fuck out of you guys hanging out with me and dealing with my little wooly and all this other shit. But anyway, that's it. I will see you guys next week. As I mentioned on the Angry Jackalope show, the next 2 weeks, I think, let me see. Next 2 weeks are solid. And then that 27th, I'm probably not going to be able to do a stream just because I will be traveling with the wife at that time. I come back on the 28th. I thought I was coming back later in the day. I now realize it's going to be morning time. So I will probably move the 27th stream to the 28th. And then we'll be back on regular schedule after that. We'll be on the 3rd and then on the 10th of November. Okay. All right, guys. Be good. Have some fun. And keep your head on a swivel and be safe. Oh, wait. When's your birthday, Magic? Is it the 27th? Interesting. It's the 27th, huh? Okay. Well, I'll be traveling. So if I do a stream, it might be something that I just pop on just to say happy birthday. All right, guys. Anyway, that's it. I will talk to you guys later. Oh, that's weird. My shit just popped off fucking all weird. I meant to do... Oh, that one. There we go. I was trying to end it on this, and I pooched it, but oh fucking well. Alright, guys. Later.